All right, we said it was rolling a while ago. We're starting to crack a little bit. We're 8 matches in to this championship Super Sunday from the Rio Elite16. Travis Mawerder, joined as always by my good friend Kyle Friend. As how it goes in Brazil, a phenomenal event. The crowd, the queue to get in to the gold medal match. So we're sitting right next to the stands here, and the queue was about 200 deep through the concession stand behind us and all the way out to the sidewalk here at Copacabana. Fans performed as always, and as we did in João Pessoa, and by as we did, as the players did in João Pessoa, they delivered a gold medal match worthy of the crowd. And we're going to sound like a broken record, Kyle, saying that this was the most epic gold medal match I've ever seen. This is the most epic gold medal match I've ever seen. But it's true. Anders Mol and Christian Storm, their gold medal match 2 weeks ago in João Pessoa against Sharif Yunus and Ahmed Tijan of Qatar. Up there is a top 5 match of all time for me. Today's match, Sunday's match here in Rio de Janeiro between, of all teams, the Bayo brothers, Joaquim and Javi of England, out of the qualifier into the gold medal match. And then you have Argentina's Capagrosso brothers, Nico and Tomas. Not the gold medal match you'd expect, and yet it was the match of the tournament for sure. And for me, maybe another top fiver.
I mean, it has to be a top 5 match. I've never been sitting courtside for a match and felt such a jitter and nervous energy and excitement. Yeah, the pulse was through the roof. I was shaking watching the boys play, and there were so many points where I thought, oh my God, it was over. I thought the Bayos had lost. No, they gritted, they grinded, the kings of cover, as we had coined them. This weekend, there was this one phenomenal cover, maybe 21-20.
21-20 in the second set.
From Joaquin, where he's completely parallel to the ground, full extension to keep that ball alive, and they go to 3 sets. Again, credit to the Bayo brothers for just battling. And we talked to them after, and they had just such this excitement, such this energy. And Joaquin's like, I don't know if I can lift my leg. His hip flexor's so tight. We know that feeling playing volleyball, but they played 8 matches of volleyball. They played 19 sets of volleyball, probably the most, like they said, the most volleyball they've played in this amount of time. And they earned it. They earned the gold medal. They took down some phenomenal teams, beating Norway in the semifinal match. 15-12 in the third. It was phenomenal. They earned every moment.
A tremendous performance from the Bayo brothers. And as always, we like to deal with lighting issues with some music. We just power on through. But the Bayo brothers, and I want to rewind back to the final scores, 22-24, 30-28, 15-13. And you alluded to the cover that Joaquin makes at 21-20. It saves the match. It was gold medal point.
Yes.
Nico Capagrosso reaches in, gets an excellent block on Javi. Any other player in the world, that's a block, except for Joaquin, who might be one of the best cover players on the planet. Saves it, one of the best plays I've ever seen, and then the rally goes on. It's the rally of the tournament. Argentina, to their credit, they stay in the match. They don't let it get to them. They extend it, have a couple more gold medal points. England just survives and advances and survives and advances. They go to 3, end up winning their first Elite 16 gold medal. Argentina, their first Elite 16 medal. So both of them career high finishes. A huge congratulations to them. But as you said, Kyle, how'd they get into the finals? They had to beat Anders Mol and Christian Storm. The first time that they played them was in the first round of pool play at the João Pessoa Elite 16, and they went to 3, and I'm going to be completely honest, I thought it was a fluke. I thought it was, hey, we haven't seen these guys before, we don't have data on them. They're jumpy, they're scrappy, they're annoying, they cover everything, which is how you've beaten Anders Mol. You just keep them from getting blocks by covering and covering. And they must have covered a dozen balls.
Yes.
Anders could have had 15 blocks, and instead he ends up with 7, a good number. But guess who had 10? Joaquin.
Eclipsed by Joaquin's blocks at 10, at standing at 6'1", and I guess we shouldn't keep referencing his height, but it's truly astonishing what he's able to do out there. His deceptive moves at the net, the surprise jumps, catching teams off guard to get 10 blocks against one of the best teams that we've had ever in the sport. I mean, it's a feat in itself. And coming through the qualifier, so there's so much more matches underneath the legs of those boys. Not a problem. They knew they had to cover balls. They pushed Anders and Christians to the brink, and they won. One of the biggest matches of their lives, and we talked to them after, and he said, we actually played them twice. We had one match where we went to Norway, got our butts whooped, Joaquin said. And so we didn't know about that one. Didn't matter. They came out to ball today, and they walked away with the gold medal.
Walked away with the gold medal, the first men's gold medal winners out of the qualifier at an Elite 16 since Bartosz Wojciak and Michał Brill in Paris, of 2022. So it has been quite some time since a qualifier team has danced all the way to the podium. Huge congratulations to the Bayos, who are putting England on the map.
Yes.
We talked to their father, you talked to their father earlier and said, when's the last time a team's done this from England? And he says, all caps, never.
Never, Luis, never.
And then on the other side of the net, you have the Capagrosso brothers. They're the first Argentinian team to do something like this, make a final of a major tournament since 2002. And so you have 4 young men putting their programs on their backs and bringing them back to relevancy. Yeah. And back to relevancy for Argentina, but back to any relevancy at all for England. They're trailblazing the program.
Yeah, I think it's so cool to see these smaller countries, and they're not smaller countries, they're just not big volleyball countries, if you will, at least on the beach scene. And so for all those young athletes who are watching at home for England and for Argentina, they might have changed the course of their lives slightly just by inspiring them to play a little bit more volleyball, by putting their countries on the map and talking to Joaquin and Javier. Maybe we'll get an event, in London, or maybe we get an event in England. He's like, hopefully we get an article written about us, There's just not so much love for beach volleyball in England, and hopefully this begins to change. Just the baby steps, 5% more attention. And our job here on the World Tour is to highlight these players and to provide more content. They're stoked with the content that we're providing, which is so awesome. We love hearing that from the fans, especially from the players. We want to support them. We want to get them more sponsorships. Hopefully we get some sponsors. Hopefully this gold medal helps. And it will. I think that it will.
And the players have been making it easy to make a lot of this content, because the bronze medal match also did not disappoint. Martins Plavins and Christians Fokerats, an unbelievable run in a very short season for them. So they played European Championships. That was their first event. What did they do? They come off the reserve list. They take down Germans Nils Ehlers and Clemens Wickler to win gold. They come to Joao Pessoa. They take a fifth. They come to Rio. And then they take down Sweden in the quarterfinals, which at the time was the upset of the tournament until the Bayos went ahead and did what they did. And then in bronze, they beat Anders Mol and Christian Sorum. Now, Plavins hadn't beaten Anders Mol and Christian Sorum since 2018 P1440 San Jose. It had been 6 years. And I was chatting with him after they won. And he says, I was talking to my wife this year, and I said, this is my bucket list. I want to beat Germany. Got him at Europeans. I want to beat Sweden, got him in the quarterfinals. I want to beat Norway, got him for bronze. The bucket list just took him 2 tournaments to fill.
I mean, that's the Christmas list of all Christmas lists. And Santa provided for Martins Plavins, and he won that well with Alexander Samoilovs, the Lion King. But here with the 19-year-old Latvian, who's got one of the brightest futures we have on the Beach Pro Tour. He was second in total points scored throughout this tournament, just behind the gold medalist, Joaquin Bello. But Plavins, a magician out there inside out, siding out against 2 of the best teams we have in the world, the gold medalists from Paris and the gold medalists from Tokyo. Both teams taking them down in 2 sets against Sweden, Travis, 23-21, 21-17. Plavins and Fokerats, it doesn't take 3 sets. And like we said, Plavins, just a magician, a la Christian Sorum, very similar game and style, playing with the height, playing with the variability. Plavins doesn't jump as high as he used to, doesn't hit as hard as he used to. It doesn't matter. Puts himself in a great spot. Big leader of the tournament, Martins Plavins. I mean, the guy's a master of this sport, and it was a pleasure to watch them play. And Christian Fokerats, we can't talk more highly enough of Christian Fokerats. The ability to option, the ability to sprinkle in the jump set, his decision-making, his blocking at standing at only 6'4", 6'5". He was one of the block leaders in this tournament, just below Joaquin Bello. Latvia, phenomenal tournament by them. I'm so stoked for Martins Plavins, who's just so excited. He's just an awesome, awesome guy. Bright future for Christian Fokerats.
And Plavins, I just want to say, in this notebook, I will write you a full apology letter for not drafting you in our Beach Pro Tour Fantasy Beach Volleyball debut. The players seemed to enjoy it. We had a lot of fun interaction with the players, a lot of fun, maybe some heckling from Plavins. Promise you'll be taken off the board next time. All right? But a huge tournament for Latvia, and a huge tournament, again, for the Brazilian women at home in Brazil. 4 straight home tournaments won by a Brazilian female at home. It started with Ana Patricia and Duda at home in Brasilia. They win gold, taking down Kristen Nuss and Taryn Kloth. Fast forward to Joao Pessoa. You have an all-Brazilian women's final gold medals won by Victoria and Tamla. Now we're here in Rio. Gold medal starts the season in Doha for Barbara and Carol. Gold medal to end the season here in Rio. And Kyle, they started the tournament out 0-2.
0-2.
0-2.
And they turn it around, and credit to the maturity, credit to the experience of that team. It's easy to just fold after 2 losses, or not fold, but just say, oh, it wasn't our best tournament. And after 2 losses in pool play, there's a high chance you're not even making it out of pool. It could have been a very different tournament for Carol and Barbara. And in the final match, hey, Carol, maybe one of my votes for MVP this tournament, her ability to block in the semifinal match. She had a ton of blocks, her hand movement, the late moves, diving, getting Tamala twice to end the semifinal, punch her ticket to the gold medal match. But it was Barbara, in my opinion, we talked about it on air, who stepped up in the gold medal match, moving defensively, making Therese and Meg Kraft so uncomfortable defensively and just scooping so many balls and turning them in transition. Barbara and Carol, like you said, started the year with the gold. Maybe it was a little bit of a slump throughout the year. We're used to seeing them do so well. Not here in Rio. They came out to ball, they brought the energy and turned it around after 2 losses to start the tournament off. Carol, first in blocks for this tournament. Defense travels.
Unbelievable. Carol, 5'10", has some of the best hands on the beach, and the route that they took to win that gold medal match, it was no easy feat. They had to win their last match of pool play, then they had to beat the legend herself, Agatha, playing in her final regular season tournament, and Rebecca. You do that, then you have to beat the youngsters, Valentina Gottardi and Rekka Orsi-Toth from Italy. They had gone 3-0 in pool, backs up against the wall in that quarterfinal match. They were down 7-10 in the 3rd set. They come all the way back. We're down a match point. They end up beating them. You play the youngsters, the hottest team in the world, Victoria Lopez and Tamala Corradelli. You beat them. You play the team that's playing better than any other team in the tournament in our fellow Americans, Therese Cannon and Megan Kraft. And even though the scores, it was 21-18, 21-17, I believe, wasn't even that close.
Yeah.
Barbara put on a show. Carol did everything that was asked. But as you said, I think that's the best match I've seen from Barbara this season, at least.
Yeah, definitely this season. Just we said Therese and Meg were just kind of surviving out there, just looked so uncomfortable. And again, credit to Barbara and Carol for the defensive implementation and the strategy that they used to make T and Meg so uncomfortable, who we thought were playing the best volleyball of the tournament. You had called them to win the gold medal, and they
called them to win gold.
Came up just a little bit short, but again, credit to Barbara and Carol for a phenomenal performance when it mattered most, and the hometown crowd, they loved it. They ate it all up. We had 4 Brazilian teams in the quarterfinal, ended up having a semifinal of Brazil versus Brazil. So one team was going to the gold. That was Barbara and Carol, and they walk away with the gold medal. And Barbara was so emotional after the match. She gave a long speech to the crowd. I'm working on my Portuguese. You're translating for me. We got Translito also helping. But you could tell how meaningful it was to them, and that was really cool to see.
And a meaningful silver medal for Therese Cannon and Megan Kraft, their 3rd straight Elite 16 silver medal, a 3rd straight Elite 16 bronze medal, 3rd straight Elite 16 medal in general for Therese and Meg, and medal in general for Victoria and Tamla. There are 3 teams in the world with 3 Elite 16 medals to their name. 2 of them came this week in Rio. Therese and Meg, 3 straight.
Man.
The other team in the world, Kristen Nuss and Taryn Close, so that is literally elite company to be in. They were bummed after losing that final. I think it's more about the way they played in the final, which wasn't up to the standard with which they'd played every match up to that point. But they're going to wake up tomorrow. They're going to, after a week after the losses subsided, they're going to look at that silver medal and think, we did a pretty cool thing.
Yeah, it's a pretty cool thing, and it's perspective. When you're in the moment, you take a look at all those little plays that you wanted back, and this small play that you made an error here, but big picture, when you have a moment to step back and look at the success and all the hard work that goes into, again, the last Elite 16 event of the year. And it's been a long season for a lot of teams, and they've been battling, and they've been grinding, and there's been injuries. And so when you can make it to the end here, that's a triumph in itself. And we talked about many teams like Sandra and Kim, we'll get to them, that were in the qualifier, and it could have been a very different tournament for them. It could have been a very different tournament for the Bayos who were in the qualifier. And yet, they're here. T and Meg, they made it this far.
And the Bayos, when we were chatting with them after, they said, we shouldn't have made it out of the qualifier. We should have lost to Kane Shalk and James Shaw. They needed some help from the Americans, and the Americans gifted them a rash of errors, put them into the main draw. And once you're in the main draw, David can find that slingshot at any time, and they took down Goliath. And Kim Vandeveld and Sandra Eitlinger, another spectacular performance out of the qualifier. took a 5th in Joao Pessoa, no fluke. Run the table right back up into the 4th place, which it's a tough finish to take. However, if you ask any qualifier team, you say, hey, would you be happy if you finished 4th? Every one of them would say, yes, I'll take it and I'll go home right now.
I mean, those teams would be happy just to make it in the main draw, let alone walk away with a 4th place finish. And a phenomenal tournament by them regardless. A little seesaw back and forth. We saw some big lopsided games for them, winning a set by big, losing a set by big. But at the end of the day, they were consistent enough. Sandra leading the tournament in points score with 152.
Smiling, Sandra. For a reason to smile, Sandra.
My goodness. And then Kim van de Velde, another incredible display of defense. She led the tournament in digs with 94. And I think every time we go in, it's like an unbelievable amount of digs for Kim van de Velde. She's all over the place, running balls down. And every time we watch her play, we're more inspired. We're more in awe of how dynamic and mobile she is and how quickly she can go and chase down balls. It was truly something special. And there have this awesome energy on the court, like you said, smiling Sandra, and then just this ability to reset quickly. No matter what happened in that point before, hold hands, smile, laugh it off. I think it's very admirable, and it works for them. It doesn't work for everybody, but I think it makes them a very entertaining and fun team to watch, and I hope that they stay together and they move forward in their journey because they're really fun. They're a good team.
All signs indicate a successful partnership to come for Smiling Sandra and Kim van de Velde.
Still working on it, but I like it.
We're working on it. Frito gave us the nod, so we got Hurricane Kim Hildreth, T-Money, Therese Cannon, Smiling Sandra, Kim van de Velde, Valentina Block-Tardy. Who knows?
Ooh,
she was the blocks leader until their quarterfinal loss, and again, debut with Rekka Orsi-Toth. And I have watched Rekka just sort of building her job application to become Valentina's defender, and what a debut. They win pool, and they were leading in a well-fought quarterfinal match, and there was a controversial call, almost as controversial as these lights going off, but hey, we're rocking and rolling.
We're flowing.
Controversial call. 2 lifts were called at the end of their quarterfinal against Barbara and Carol, and we actually chatted with the ref, Stefan Mueller, after, and he said, what did you guys think? I said, I thought that was a bad call at the end of that set, and I said, if you had to call it again, would you? And he said, no, it was a shit call.
Yeah.
And I hope I get a reffing assignment on Final Sunday. And so I bring that up because, one, refs are human.
Yes.
And we both said on the air that it was a bad call. Kind of gave him a hard time. I thought other than those 2 calls, I thought he did ref a fine match.
Clean.
And it's also the fact that he owned up to it and said that I will become a better ref for it. That's what makes, to me, a good ref. And that's all you can hope for. So, yeah, Valentina and Rekka got screwed quite a bit. They should have been in the semifinals, but refs are human, and Stefan's going to be better for it. And I do think he is one of the better refs, and I enjoyed chatting with him about it.
Yeah, I think it was very human of him to come up and talk to us about that. And we asked him, what games did you do? And he's like, that game. Just that game. And, it was weighing on him. But like the players, you make a mistake, you gotta wake up, you gotta go to bed, you gotta wake up and do it again. And you have to reset. And you can't draw or hang too low or wallow in that, because you gotta come back out and you gotta perform. And that's exactly what he did today. I think he did a great job. And it was super cool to hear that. And I loved seeing that side. It's something we don't see very often. And for Valentina and Rekka, maybe that call changes the game, maybe it doesn't. Maybe they're still playing. If you haven't watched that match, go back and watch the first swing of Valentina Guittardi. Whoa, just unbelievable down the line, high off the net, crazy angle. And I'm bummed that we don't get to see more of Valentina, because every time she went to touch the ball, it was like, what is she going to do?
Well, she's just 21. We're going to be seeing plenty of Valentina Guittardi.
Thank goodness, because she's a freak in all the good ways, because she is an absolute monster out on the court. She's fiery, she's competitive. She's lovable, and I just want to see her play more. And congratulations to her and Rekka, like you said. Great tournament, a great showing for the both of them.
And that continues sort of the trend of these fall tournaments. We call it breakthrough season.
Yes.
Right, so we got a lot of the young stars breaking through. Capagrossos breaking through. Bayos breaking through. Career high finish, not necessarily young, but a career high finish for Sergei Popov and Edward Resnick of Ukraine. Christian Svokarots breaking through. Martin Spavins, you broke through about 20 years ago.
Yeah, three
but you're
Olympics
back.
Later.
But you're back. And then on the flip side, it's also a changing of the guard, because we're seeing a lot of the legends, a lot of the veterans retiring.
Yes.
We said goodbye to Lara Ludwig, and this week we said goodbye to Agatha. Now, we will see her and Rebecca in the Beach Pro Tour Finals in Doha in December, but this is the last regular season tournament that we will see from Agatha, and the Brazilian fans gave her flowers. Our content team did so as well, and a much-deserved legendary career, 160 tournaments, and Agatha, she's going to be a Hall of Famer.
Absolutely Hall of Famer. And it was cool to be here to witness some of those last matches of such a legend of our sport and the impact that she's made. I'm glad we get to see her one more time in Doha. But yes, Brazil was awesome for her, and that she get to finish her last main draw event here. And like you said, breakthrough performances on the men's side, a brand new podium that we've never seen before in an elite event, all brand new elite medals for all of those guys. So it's one of the first times we've seen it. It's really cool. We're talking about breakthrough, end of the season. Anything can happen. The podium is available. If you're willing to travel, if you're willing to compete late in the season, it's here. We're sitting on it now, but it's for you. If you want it, it's out here. And so you got to go out there, perform. You got to go out there and lose and go and hit these events, because like the Bayos, the one loss away, you're done, and then one win away, boom, you're in the gold medal match. You're walking away with a gold medal.
And shout out producer Frito for bringing up that factoid, by the way,
yes,
of our first Elite 16 podium that is brand new. And it's one thing if it was a washed out, diluted event where no one went. This tournament had Norway. This tournament had Sweden. And you got to go way back to find an Elite 16 podium that didn't include anyone from Scandinavia. It had Qatar. This tournament had elite teams, brand new podium, new guard coming in. And a farewell to Agatha. Now, going to our final section of the show, something that we're trying to do more of, a little bit of superlatives.
Yes.
Kyle Friend, who is your MVP of the Rio Elite 16 for the men?
For the men, my MVP was my fantasy pick, Mr. Joaquin Bayo, who was a monster all weekend long. Played like he was 6'7", sided out when he needed to, got those big blocks when he needed to, and got those covers, like you said, when they were most important. And those are those little plays. Those are the ones that aren't highlighted as much, but those are the ones that get you the wins. Those are the ones that Javi says, boy, this is my brother. And he said after the game, it's the best blocker in the world. And it was like, it was truly heartfelt. It really hit home for me. I love those guys. They're friends of mine, and I was just so happy to see them perform so well and how much passion they have for the game. So, men's MVP for me, Joaquin Bayo. For yourself?
Nobody else could fit but Joaquin Bayo.
Yeah.
And sure, Javi could be a close second. Tomas could be a relatively close second. But Joaquin Bayo, 10 blocks in your semifinal win against Anders Moe and Christian Storm. The only reason that they have a gold medal is because of his cover at 21-20. And I was talking to him after, and he goes, it was a carry, but we played it out, and we won a point. And I said, okay, no call. And they just continued it. And you just keep the balloon off the floor, and good things happen. Led the tournament in blocks, and again, a tournament filled to the brim with elite blockers. You got Jonathan Helvig, Anders Moe, Christian Svokarats. You're leading the tournament in blocks.
Oh my gosh.
MVP for me, no question. Runaway, unanimous favorite goes to Joaquin Bayo. Congratulations to you.
Congratulations.
As for your women's MVP, Mr. Kyle Friend.
Yeah, women's MVP for me is Miss Carol Salgado. I just think that she was able to impact the game, every match, impact every set, getting hitters' faces, even if it was a soft block. They don't count the soft blocks, but she had a ton and led Barbara to a ton of good touches, and then put Carol up on two, and she was creative, she was crafty. If she wasn't getting a soft block, she was getting blocks. She led the tournament in blocks, and so they get the gold medal. She stole my heart. And the phenomenal play and the hand movement as an undersized blocker myself. It was an absolute treat to see her go to work.
And Carol is an excellent pick. MVP 1A. I'm going with Victoria Lopez.
Oof.
Victoria was the most steady force possible. The few times that she was allowed to touch the ball in the semifinals, she came and performed. The few times she was allowed to touch the ball in the bronze medal match, she performed, did everything that was asked of her. 3 straight Elite 16 medals now for Victoria Lopez and Tamla Corradelli. And that's Victoria. You always wonder, how are the partners going to do after a partner switch up? Victoria had a great run with Tina Silva, and it's Victoria Lopez with a new partner in Tamla who's just performing and performing and performing, and that's because she is playing at an elite level.
Yeah, I just want to comment on Victoria, her play. We are in awe of you, Victoria. We love watching you play. Every touch is purposeful. Every movement is decisive. Your touch on the ball, the heat that she was able to bring this weekend. I mean, some of the heaviest balls were hit by her this weekend. When she comes in barreling, watch out. Watch out. She's going head hunting. She's trying to take your head off. It was truly something special. She was a treat to watch. And yeah, I agree. That's a great pick. She was phenomenal.
So Victoria Lopez, Petabanes, congratulations
Yes.
to you. Carol, congratulations to you. We can't actually give you any awards for MVP, but you get our love and adoration.
Indeed.
Now
Indeed.
for your men's breakthrough player of the Rio Elite 16.
Yeah, this one was kind of a toss-up for me, but I'm going to go with Javi Bayo. I just think Joaquin played phenomenal, but Javi scooped a ton of balls when they needed. He sided out great. He got most of the serves this weekend. He was up there in total points scored. He made some big-time plays. He said at the end of this match that he was exhausted, actually physically fatigued, and he was just trying to give the ball at times back to them so Joaquin could get a block. And he said earlier in the tournament, I was just hitting the ball as hard as I could off the block. He's like, in the finals, I wasn't hitting as hard. They were getting digs. I'm like, well, it looked like you're hitting the ball.
I thought he was hitting just fine.
You're hitting the ball pretty hard still. But 19 sets later, 8 matches later, he put in the work. They've been grinding. They've been putting in all the work at home, all this tough grind and prep with their dad, Luis, their coach. It's so cool to see. They're undersized. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter who they play. They're going to go out there. Like they said, they have to beat us. They got to go through us, and they don't make it easy because they're the scrappiest team out on tour. They're the grittiest team we have on the Beach Pro Tour, and so breakthrough performance, Javi Bayo.
I'm going with Christians Fokarats. I think that an unfair asterisk was put on their European Championship win because it was missing your last 7 European champions in Sweden and Norway.
Yeah.
Well, what did they do? They took down Sweden and they took down Norway. The only other team to do that in the same tournament is Stefan Bormans and York de Groot. They did that in Doha. And Christians does it at 19. And I think that there's always something to be said for, well, you're playing with Martin Splavins. He's one of the best players in Latvia history. But Christians, his options were on point. Serving, on point. Blocking, on point. He was so steady and composed at just 19 years old. And so I think that Christians made a statement. Yes, he did it in Joao Pessoa, but they didn't even sniff beating Anders and Christian in Joao Pessoa, and even in pool play, they weren't even close to beating them. And then he comes out and responds in Rio with a huge win over Sweden, a huge win over Anders and Christian, a huge bronze medal to come home with. And I think that Christian's made a statement that he is for real, and he is going to be a problem at the net for a long time.
I mean, that was my other pick, no question. And this tournament alone, I'd have to imagine, will hold a special place in Christian's heart for a very long time, knowing, yes, bronze medal, epic, so epic, but taking down Sweden and Norway in the same tournament, it hasn't been done since Bormans did it in Doha last year, Bormans and de Groot. But yeah, Fokaras, he's got it. He's springy, he's athletic, the hand ball is phenomenal, and his ability to just kind of shrug plays off, I think, is admirable at a young age. Doesn't get too tight. He plays kind of like a veteran, and he only will get better. And the more time you spend with Martin Splavins, you're just going to become a better player and a better human being. So
you're going to laugh a lot.
And you're going to laugh a lot.
With Martin Splavins.
Yes.
Jake Gibb always said that Martin Splavins is one of the funniest players on the Beach Pro Tour, and the more time I've gotten to spend with him, you're right, Jake. You're right about everything, but you're right about Plavins. Last category,
Yes.
Kyle Friend, your women's breakthrough player of the Rio Elite 16.
Women's breakthrough player, Miss Kim Vandevelde. Just phenomenal defensively. The heart, the grit of her running around the court, scooping so many balls. Just when you thought the ball was out of reach, Kim comes flying in, diving here. I mean, there's so many plays where she gets 3 to 4 digs in a row in the rally to extend the rally. And that's what got Germany to the 4th place finish, into the semifinals, into that bronze medal match, because of the heart of Kim Vandevelde. She's done something good with Sandra, and I was just so impressed with her. So breakthrough athlete, Kim Vandevelde.
Kim Van Digveld.
Yes, I
Great
like it.
tournament for you, our Diggs leader. I'm going with the player that I wrote a feature on when she was just 18 years old at Loyola Marymount University, Rekka Orsi-Toth, little sis of Victoria Orsi-Toth, an Italian legend. You always wonder, how's a player going to perform when they get the promotion that they've sought? And Rekka gets the promotion, gets to play with Valentina Gottardi, one of the best blockers in the world, one of the brightest talents that we have here on the Beach Pro Tour. She gets served every single ball, and she was a side-out machine. just a fluid player, and I had the displeasure of coaching against her when I was coaching Betsy Flint and Julia Scholes in Hamburg, and our game plan was avoid Rekka at all costs. Well, now teams don't get to do that.
Yeah.
You have to attack Rekka, because if you go at Valentina, well, God bless your heart, and put on a helmet. And so Rekka performs, gets a fifth, her career high in an Elite 16, and of course she's playing with Valentina, and that's 25 years old Rekka, 21 years old Valentina Guettardi. The Italian Federation has a bright future. And a bright future, any event in Brasilia, any event in Brazil in general. But Brasilia was also a great event. But Rio, it's so fun to be here in Rio. The first time that the Beach Pro Tour has dropped here since 2016, the Olympic Games, and what a pleasure. It's such an iconic location in beach volleyball. The first World Championships were played here in 1987. This is where the USA-Brazil rivalry was formed, so that is close to our hearts as Americans.
Yes.
And the crowd showed up, and a thanks, as always, muito obrigado to our content team. Daniel Freitas, always my guy. Frito the Translito, La Máquina. Alex, I don't know what your last name is, but he brought a lot of sick graphics, and from your name tag, it looks long. It includes the middle name. Raquel, Luis, Everett, Delorme, the whole squad, Florin at VBTV, Sol de Diego, the whole crew.
Yeah.
Apologies if I forgot you, but they're the ones who make the magic happen, and they're the ones who are bringing you guys all sort of this new content that we're putting together and putting out here on all the Beach Volleyball World channels, be it YouTube, Instagram, VBTV, whatever it may be. So all that can't be done without you, and all that can't be done without the players. So, muito obrigado, thank you, boa noite, and a saúde, amigos.
Saúde.